What's going on, guys? This is Boz again with Boz Reptiles. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Boz Reptiles for another video. Today I want to jump on board and tell you how I got started with ball pythons. Now, I actually had no real intention of purchasing a ball python. The way that I got started was initially taking an interest in fish. So I took a trip to my local pet store and was looking at getting a starter tank with goldfish and maybe a few others. And there was a guy named Will who we talked fish for about 20-30 minutes. And he was like, "Hey man, are you interested in reptiles?" So we walked over to the reptile section and he pulled out a normal ball python. And at first I was a little apprehensive to handle it, but I went ahead and just handled it anyways. So I did that, and it kind of opened my mind to reptiles, and specifically ball pythons. So, you know, handling this ball python really started me to develop a bond with the animal. And, you know, at first not being comfortable with it and kind of being a little apprehensive caused me to like hesitate. However, you know, I'm the type of person that likes to expand my horizons and likes to push past limitations and step out of my comfort zone. So when I'm faced with something that's out of the norm for me, it doesn't faze me. It's just an opportunity to learn, grow, and push out of your comfort zone, become a better person. So I took the chance to get to know this ball python. And honestly, I started perusing the aisle and looking at cage setup. You know, I think that night I went home and I Googled, you know, like how to care for a ball python. And the first video I saw was the Brian Barczyk, you know, ball python video where for under $100, right? So the idea is you go on Craigslist and you find a cheap 10-gallon tank, and then you get yourself a heat mat, you get yourself a hide, a water bowl, a heat lamp, and a thermometer with some substrate. I think that's about it. Substrate, hide, water bowl, heat lamp, heat mat. You know, and call it a day. And you can do it for under $100 if you know, price match. That's another thing. Price match whenever you go to pet stores, like PetSmart or Petco, because that way you can get the best deal. But yeah, so then the next time I was in that pet store, I was getting my water tested or I was buying fish food, I would come right back to that reptile section and I would pull out that ball python and handle it, get to know it a little bit better, get a little bit more comfortable with ball pythons. I remember one in particular that I really wanted. Somebody ended up buying it. I named it Josephine before I even bought it. And just looking at tanks and looking at substrate, somebody in there snatched it up. And I came back there and I couldn't believe it. Somebody had bought it before I could even get it. But what ended up happening is there was a pinstripe in there. There was a pinstripe that came available. And I remember asking, you know, consistently, because I had a reason to come back. I already had a fish tank, and I ended up starting with 2 goldfish and expanding from there. But you have to buy, you know, stuff for the goldfish. So I'd come in and get my fish food or get my water tested or whatever, and come check out the reptiles. Over time, I kind of developed a bond with the pinstripe, and it actually would end up crawling up my arm and around my neck and hanging out around my neck. And Wayne from the pet store said, you know, you're really the only person that snake's ever done that with. And he started saying, that's your snake. That's your snake. You know, I'd never owned a ball python before. I'd never cared for one, meaning taking care of one. So it was all new to me. But I had an open mind about it. So, you know, Wayne, I was asking him all the questions about temperature, humidity, substrate, all the care questions to know, because I wanted to make sure I was going to give my pet the best possible care. And Wayne was like, I know you're going to give Cinnamon, was her name, Cinnamon, a good home. And he started working on price with me, and you know, their snakes are priced anywhere between $40 to $120 on the shelf for normals and fancies. So we started working on price, and Wayne was actually helping me price match. He told me about the price match program, and that if you can find a better deal somewhere else, PetSmart will price match it. So Wayne ended up getting me an amazing deal on Cinnamon, helping me put everything together, and getting me all started. So the day that I brought home Cinnamon was January 28th. So we're now at the end of April. It's Tuesday, and it's crazy that like 3 months ago I was just getting started. Today I own 10 ball pythons. I've got a blue-eyed Lucy, a ghost, a male banana pied. I've got a pinstripe, a trick, a banana pin, a normal, a fire. Then I got a female banana pied and a female killer Mojave pied. Not only that, but now I'm getting started on rat breeding. When I went to the Pet Expo in Hamburg, I ended up picking up 2 female rats and a male rat. Right now they are doing swimmingly. I have a fan on them, keeping them cool, and they're hanging out right now in the laundry room. So they're doing great, and you know, I'm planning on making some babies with them that I can feed to the rest of my ball pythons, and that way we can be self-sustaining. One unfortunate thing that happened at Hamburg was I picked up 2 female mice and a male mouse to do some mice breeding. And just getting into it, I didn't fully understand the mice and rat care. So I had them in a tank. I had holes in it, you know, for ventilation. I had the water bottle. I had the shredded paper substrate. I had a food dish with, you know, rat and mice food. Everything all set up. The one thing I didn't account for is temperature. What I've learned is that the mice and rats do well in 55 to 60 degrees. So they like it cool, optimally, you know, below 70. So what I ended up doing is putting them outside of my patio, because at night it gets real cool and it's about 60 degrees at night. So I put them out on the patio and they were doing great. The next morning the sun came up, they were doing great in the morning. What really got to them is about 5 to 7 p.m. or between about 4 to 7 p.m. when the sun starts setting and it was shining directly onto my patio. Went out there and they weren't moving, which struck me as odd. So I took a closer look at them and it looks like they had passed away in the sun. So that's another lesson learned. As far as if you have any plans on doing mice or rat breeding, be sure to monitor your temperatures closely, because mine baked outside. It's only spring, so it's really not that warm out yet, which caught me by surprise. But moving forward, I'm gonna keep them nice and cool, AC when possible, if not with a fan, and learn from that moving forward. But anybody who's interested in owning a ball python, I definitely encourage you to do so. Make sure you do your homework, make sure you do your research. Set up your tank and everything at home before you get your animal. That way it's a smooth, seamless transition. You want to make sure you have your heat pad, have your thermometer or hydrometer, have 2 hides and a water bowl, have your heat lamp. All right, but thank you guys for tuning in and joining me today to learn about how I got started, and I hope my story inspires you to own your very first ball python. Take care.